Hello and welcome to the Powerhouse Woman Show. I'm your host, Monica Pierre, and we're so happy that you have joined us, and especially this month. This is Women's History Month, and we're all excited to share some powerful stories of women leaders, visionaries, people who are doing some amazing things. The Powerhouse Woman Show is brought to you by the StorymakerAcademy.com, where we show you how to develop, how to interest others in your story, and how to deliver it. So we'll have more to talk about that before the end of the show. But let's get back to talking about Women's History Month, and in particular, advancing women's leadership. And we're joined by, there she is, and
Hello.
talking to, hello, Tara Waldron. She is the president of the Junior League of New Orleans. So happy that you've joined us. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. We're going to talk about some events that are coming up that the Junior League is behind, and also what you all do with the Junior League, because we do have audience members who are from New Orleans, the United States, of course, Canada, and also the UK. So, what is your leadership story that led you to the Junior League?
Sure. I was in law school here in New Orleans at Loyola, and I served on the Student Bar Association, usually as a representative in my class and later as the special events coordinator. And during one of those years, the president of the Student Bar Association said, Tara, I really think that you would enjoy the Junior League of New Orleans. And knowing that I wasn't from here, she knew it was a great opportunity for me to connect with other women, both from here and from other areas. She put me up for membership, and I joined. And it's been I would say, successful 12 years since. And what's funny about it is that she went on to marry a gentleman in my class, and they moved to California. And she ultimately became the president of Orange County's Junior League.
One of the things as I read about the Junior League of New Orleans, is that one of the values is connection. Speak to that and how often powerhouse women recognize other powerhouse women and not just say, oh, she's smart, but actively sponsor or actively open up an avenue for them.
Absolutely. So one of the things that's really interesting about the Junior League is, initially when it started, it was an opportunity for women to kind of come in and learn how to do a lot of different skill sets so that ultimately when they left their active years of being a member, they could go out into the community and make a difference. And we've noticed that, throughout the years, people who are serving on boards and in other leadership roles generally recognize the Junior League of New Orleans members and even other Junior League members internationally simply because of the way that we put programming together, the way that we are organized. So from that alone, people will look at you and be like, you must have been a Junior League member. And you're like, yeah, I am actually. How'd you know? And it's simply because of the way that we operate and how we put our stuff together, how we educate women and really, shine the spotlight on women who are doing amazing things in our community.
Well, this is Women's History Month, and all through March, we have an opportunity to learn about incredible powerhouse women, not only on this show, but other shows as well. So there'll be lots of things for you to read and be inspired by. Tell us a little bit about the history, 100 years for the Junior League, and what was missing when some women leaders decided that here's what's missing, here's what we need to focus on, and they started to make it happen.
Yeah, we will actually be 101 at the end of this month. We're really excited for that. But the Junior League of New Orleans was started by a very small group of women, and their first project was to address food scarcity. In that time, a lot of women had gone back into the workplace or were starting to go back into the workplace, and so they really wanted to address food scarcity in the city. And then ultimately they opened a nursery school to help those working women with their children, to make sure that those children had enough food and were basically secure and safe while their mothers were at work.
Wow, that is a powerful story. And when you study the history of the Junior League, you study your own path as well. Is there a commonality that you see that powerhouse women, when they see a need, even if they're small in number, addressing the need, they're the ones who raise their hands and figure a way out to do this?
Yeah, I think that resiliency is the commonality. one of the great things about the Junior League of New Orleans in particular is that every year we're looking at our programming and what we're offering to see if it's still relevant and if it's going to be able to make that community impact. So, I mean, theoretically, we could change everything from year to year. We usually don't. But say something happens in this city or in our country and we need to address it immediately, we have the opportunity every year to kind of start that process and to start a new program if we need to, which I think is wonderful and is really what's kept us relevant.
What are some of the programs? And you have a lot, we only have a short show, but what are some of the wonderful programs? And I was sharing with Tara that when I worked in radio, I did a public affairs show. And from time to time, I would have guests on from the Junior League to talk about the diaper bank or whatever else is going on. So, what are some of the programs you'd like to highlight?
We have a few, of course. Our JLNO diaper bank, that is a year-round program that we have going on. We started with baby diapers. We now do period supplies and adult incontinence because we found that all three products had the same issue. And that was that women were stuck at home caring for someone, whether it be child or adult, instead of being able to go to work or to school. And by giving access to these products, it really gave them a lot more freedom to grow. So that was and is probably our most impactful project from the standpoint of the number of people we're able to touch through it. We also have several other projects that I think are really impactful. We have our Woman Entrepreneur Fellowship Program. That pitch competition is coming up in April, and we have 6 finalists this year, and that's an opportunity for women entrepreneurs to apply for this competition. They get training for the pitch competition once they're selected, and the winner walks away with a lot of services and support and a year's worth of training and a membership with the Junior League of New Orleans. And it's really just an opportunity to further women's leadership in the community. You know, when their businesses are doing well and when they're able to grow, we find that women tend to give back.
How do you determine what the focus will be any given period or from year to year? Because I'm intrigued when you talked about when it began 101 years ago, it was food shortages, right?
Yeah,
We still have food insecurity. So you
we
could
do.
have done that for 100 years. So how do you determine what will be the focus?
There are a lot of pieces to that. Of course, it's kind of what are the needs in the city right now, and then it's also what are our strengths as a membership organization at this moment. We have around 300 active members, and that means members that are boots on the ground volunteers. So what are their strengths? What kind of time can they give? Obviously, a lot has changed in 100 years as far as what women are doing in their personal professional lives. So you know, we really just try to be the best answer for what we can do, but also we really serve as a connector. A great example of that is during a natural disaster or any kind of disaster response. We are going to be able to connect a lot of people to each other and organizations to each other. So even though the Junior League may not directly do it, we're able to connect the people together who can make it happen. And I think that we've really found a niche in that spot in particular.
Well, one of the things where you talk about advancing women's leadership, it's not just something people say, but you also have put together an exciting summit. Talk
Yeah.
about the summit that you have coming up.
Yes. So next week, Friday, March 14th, we have our 5th Women's Leadership Summit. I'm so thrilled about it. It's really a day for a woman from any background, professionally, personally, to come in, get some, we call it experience women's impact. So we're really wanting you to come in and really meet someone, whether it be somebody else at your table, whether it be one of the speakers, but really, you know, get inspiration for what you want to do in the next year. How can you impact your community, your professional sphere, whatever, you know, you're really interested in doing. And we have some wonderful speakers for that. And I'm just really looking forward to it. There are 3 tracks. We do community impact, personal development, and professional development. So throughout the day, you have the option of choosing different sessions based on what you're most interested in.
Wow. What are some of the stories going forward that someone may have gone to maybe year 1 or year 3, left inspired, left feeling empowered? And how do you know if they started something, if they joined more of the Junior League? What happens after, or what can happen after you attend the summit?
Yeah, I think it's a variety of factors, right? Depending on why you're there. Some of it, it's, I always say, you know, you don't have to be a lot of women's conferences are very professional women, and that is not the niche of the Women's Leadership Summit. You absolutely can be there for a professional standpoint, but you can also be a stay-at-home mom who wants to come in and just grow personally. I want to learn a new skill. I want to think about what I want to do next. So I think that the options really look to inspire people and women in particular, of course. One of the things that we had the honor of the past couple of years is we've invited some of our community partners to attend and be able to come. And they've spoken about how much they've gotten out of it and kind of like refilling their cup, right, for the work that they're doing in the community. And I think that's a really important piece as well. And then finally, we've also allowed some of the local women's high schools to buy tables and stuff. So we have high school juniors and seniors, women in there coming in and listening and kind of just having conversations with women that maybe they would never have access to otherwise, or not even think about yet, right? Because when you're a junior or senior in high school, you're probably not thinking along some of these lines, but it might get something ticking in your brain that ultimately comes out later and in your career path or your personal path.
Well, I really like the fact that, we're not in competition as women. I think we've been sold a bill of goods that unless if you're a professional woman, you look down on the woman who stays home at home. If you work, the woman who stays at home has support or may not, but also looks down at you because you should be home with your children. Why don't you have children? That type of thing. But I think one of the things that you all do well is that everyone and everyone's story is welcomed as well. Mm-hmm. So how do people get tickets or learn more about it?
Yes. So if you go to our website, JLNO.org, you can look at Women's Leadership Summit, and you can buy tickets there. You can see the schedule. Our keynote this year is Margaret Orr. And I mean, just think how inspiring she could be with weather and how exciting she is on any subject. So I only can imagine what her keynote is going to be like this year. I'm really excited for it. We start the day with Katie LeBreton, and she is talking about really, social media health and keeping that interaction positive and healthy habits and a lot of different pieces along those lines, that whether you are a working woman or a stay-at-home mom, you definitely, we're all on our phones. We're all looking at things all the time. And we want self-confidence to be built through social media, not broken down. So I'm really excited about that session. We have a session about women in STEM professions. So, if anyone has an interest in that, that's a really great one. So there's just a lot of different pieces and parts, and it's going to be a wonderful day. One of the things that I love about our program is that we focus our speakers across the board are local women. They're local women making an impact in their communities. And I think that's really special about the Junior Leagues Women's Leadership Summit.
Right. You mentioned Margaret Orr. For those of you who are not from the New Orleans area, talk about a powerhouse woman who was also the chief meteorologist at the NBC affiliate here in New Orleans. And nobody wanted her to leave. But at some point, you make a decision, but she's still so involved and still a wonderful human being as well. So kudos on getting Margaret Orr to be really a part of the summit. Yeah, it's hard to have a crystal ball, Tara, and know what's ahead. How do you see the Junior League of New Orleans evolving, transforming the city, addressing the needs as we look forward to the next 99 and a half years?
Yeah, I think I would say I'm not sure yet. We did do a update of a study that was done after Katrina. So we commissioned, as part of our centennial, the Status of Women study in New Orleans. And that study updated all of the post-Katrina statistics to really look at what are the women in the greater New Orleans area experiencing, what are their challenges, what are their wins even, right? And we've used that study so far to have a convocation, and there will be more coming, where we brought several community partners into the room to talk about the issues that the study brought out and to discuss ways to start to address them. So I think that's the direction, and really what we're going to use is our North Star, so to speak. And then, again, we're a membership organization, so we always have to be true to our members and really think about where their interests lie. Where do they get, I guess, pulled in and, really like into the Junior League of New Orleans and feel that impact. So we have to think about that as well, and really kind of melding the two together.
Wow. Thank you so much for being with us. Again, if you'd like to know more about the Junior League of New Orleans, go to JLNO.org. You'll get more information about the summit as well and all the great work that you all are doing. Thank you so much, Tara, for being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'll just do a quick plug to say that membership for the Junior League of New Orleans is currently open for any women over 23. And you can find that information on our website as well.
That's why you're the president. Hold on just a second. Yes, we want to thank you all for joining us today on the Powerhouse Woman Show. It's brought to you by Storymaker Academy. It's our 6-month program. We work very closely with you to help you develop and to determine and to actually get on stage with your story. Go to www.storymakeracademy.com. And until next Thursday, enjoy this day, enjoy this month, and continue being the powerhouse woman that you are. Bye-bye now.